Hello and welcome everybody. In this video we're going to launch your first freelance project. And this is directly related to my students, and this is coming off of the heels of an image gallery walkthrough of about 12 to 16 lessons depending on the setup. But that was the first project for our basic foundations class, and this is going to be the first freelance. So if you are not one of my classroom students, but you're still coming along, welcome. Let's go over what we're going to cover in this video. So, number one, we will accept an assignment from GitHub Classroom. Once that assignment is accepted from a template starter code, then each student will have their own personalized GitHub repository for the project. Then we will go into that GitHub repository and clone that down to our AWS Cloud9 IDE, or clone it down to any IDE you're working on. And then we will go over the project specifications, what's expected, and finally, one utility we will demonstrate how to upload an image into the project assets file so that students can integrate their own images, whether it's images they've taken with their own phone or something that they've copied from the internet with copyright approval. So without further ado, let's get into this now. The first step for my students will be to accept the invitation. Now, I'm going to go to a blank page here, a blank Google Doc, and the link for this is on the screen. However, classroom students, more than likely, you're going to see this in our learning management system. So either Schoology, Google Classroom, that's where you'll find this assignment. And you want to get to that link and open that up. Once you're there, you'll be brought to a page on GitHub Classroom. So we have done this before, so there is a utility video, but we'll repeat this again. So let's see. Once you accept this assignment, you'll be granted access to your own repository for this template. All right, so let's accept. And then you want to head back to your GitHub account and look at your repositories for your own version. So I'm going to pause the video here, let you head on over to your own GitHub account, get logged in, and let's see if you copied that down. All right, welcome back. So on the screen right now, I have the My Gallery, which was the title of the template. And then notice after the hyphen is my username. So now each one of you should have and that's your GitHub username. So each one of you now has a personalized GitHub repository for this project. And now we want to begin the process of cloning this down to your Cloud9 environment. So let's open up your Cloud9 environment, and this is probably where we left off. Again, this is coming off the heels of the image gallery project. So a couple of things. Let's do a little cleanup. Make sure that you are keeping that editor clear of any files, because every project's going to have an index.html and style.css. We want to make sure we're using the right one, so close out of that. And I just always keep the welcome screen up there. And on the left-hand side, another thing I would recommend is you collapse the project folder from that image gallery. Okay, now let's pull up the terminal. Remember, the environment is the root directory of your Cloud9 environment that we set up that one time. So this is like the software is downloaded for Cloud9 in your server that you're renting with AWS in the cloud. So this is our root, and this is where we want to clone our repository so that it creates its own file or folder, off of this root. So keep your cursor here. Let's head on over to the repository that you just accepted and created, and we want to go to that green code button. And again, we've done this before. There are 3 ways to clone this. So we're going to use the git command clone. We're going to use HTTPS. And that is just simply using the website or URL for this repo. And click that two squares and copy that web address into your clipboard. And let's move back to our Cloud9 IDE. Okay. Next up, we want to run the command at the root environment directory. Very, very important. So hang on, before I do that, I'm going to catch myself here. You are probably in this environment or in this folder. This was from the image gallery walkthrough. So we want to change directory up a level from this. We do not want to run your clone command here, because then it will create a separate sub project folder in the image gallery project, and we don't want that. So how do we do that? Very, very, very important. We want to run change directory ... Oops, my apologies. Change directory space ... I believe. And there we go. So notice what happened here. Once I hit change directory cd space ... the / image gallery folder went away, and now I'm only on the root. And that's exactly what we want to have happen. So I'm just going to clear that out. So I'm going to run the Linux command clear, just so I have a open visual here. And now I want to run git clone. And remember, we just put that URL for the GitHub repo in our clipboard. So git clone and then Control V. And this should have github.com, the organization, and then finally the location of your repo, and hit enter. Now, you may need to go back and create a personal access token, but if it's not asking you to authenticate, then you should be good to go here. So if it's asking you for username, type your username in. If it's asking you for password after that, do not type password. Go back, create the personal access token or retrieve it, and paste that in here. All right. Now let's hit clear, and let's change directory into that. CD my. I think that's unique on my root. It picks it up, and there we go. So now I'm in a completely different project folder. If I run the ls command here, I have, similar to the structure of the image gallery, obviously, I've got an assets folder, index.html, a project specs.md, readme, and style.css. Let's take a look over on the left-hand side here in our folder structure. Notice now, if I call our CS Foundations, or this is our name of when we created Cloud9, if I pull that down or expand it, what we want throughout the year is every single project to be sitting off of that root, which is why you want to do git clone off the root directory. So now the project, my gallery, has its own file structure here. Okay? And once you begin working, you're going to open up index.html, style.css, and notice we're back to square one, just like we were with the image gallery. So let's keep this here. Let's head back to our My Gallery repo that you just copied down. And let's go over some of the pieces of this. Again, this is where you get, I hope this is the best part of the course for you. The walkthroughs are the learning spot, but your creativity doesn't shine there. You're just meant to follow along. But now that you have those tools and you know where to access the documentation for it, this is where you could be very creative. This is where you could have some fun. So we want you to shine here, but we still need you to be working within certain project specifications. So the README file, let's take a quick look here, is saying, hey, this is Q1 Project 2, our first freelance. And what are we covering? This is our first freelance. In this freelance project, you will take what you have learned in the related walkthrough, the image gallery project, and make your own themed image gallery as stated in the creativity criteria of project specification. So everything else in this README is very similar to the walkthrough. Key concepts and then all the resources. So let's go to specs, project specs.md. Remember, you want to be viewing the MD files on GitHub and not in Cloud9, because this is the GitHub is a user interface, and you're seeing the user interface presentation. The browser is showing you the actual visual and not the code behind it. If you were looking at this file in Cloud9, you would just see the code behind it. Okay, so project specs. Very first thing here, bullets are creativity. Primary purpose of a freelance project is to take what you've learned in the related walkthrough and make it your own. So I'm not going to read all these. In the classroom, maybe I will go over more details, but this is meant, again, for you to add your own flair. Notice there are still general specifications, creativity, admin, and time. So now the rubric has one additional. That creativity is added on. We had general specs, admin, and time in classroom, but now we've got a couple others. So this is valued more than the walkthroughs, the freelances. Okay, so that is it with one exception here. So we're going to get you going very soon, but if we go back to this project, if you recall from the walkthrough, if we open up the assets folder, we had all of the pictures here. I gave you the images with the sites and so on. Here, I just kept this image from the previous project in so that we could create the assets folder. Do not use this one. You're going to put your own photos or images here. Be very careful though. Scroll all the way down in the README, and you want to go through these links about intellectual property and copyright to see what you can and cannot use. Now, if it's your actual photos that you've taken with your phone or your own camera, then that's fine. But again, part of this project is to go through these quick video series about intellectual property and copyright. So make sure you're doing that so that we are appropriately using videos or someone else's work the right way. Okay. Final piece here. How do you get your images into the assets folder? So that's going to happen at Cloud9. So let me back to Cloud9. I'm going to clear the terminal out and scroll down. And I want to open up the file folder of my computer. So my students, that'll be the File Explorer on your Chromebook. So you want to somehow maybe send those or copy those down from your phone down to your Chromebook. I'm going to open up a File Explorer here, and let's take this first picture. So if I have my file structure open here, then it's as simple as highlighting one of the images, and notice I'm just dragging it over and highlighting it right on the assets folder, and it adds it right there. So it's as simple as a drag and drop, nice and easy. The trick is you need to get it to your file folder within your Chromebook or your computer. Okay, so that is all there is to this project. There is not 12 different lessons to it. You are now set to work on your own and to have a blast with this, to be very creative. Just remember, follow the project specs, follow the rubric. I appreciate you coming along. Hopefully, if you were not a classroom student, you still stuck around and got some value out of it. We will see you in the next video, and have fun, everybody, with your creativity. Take care.